we believe we're at this information-centric point where using information and driving how an organization behaves is what's going to bring competitive value. And that's what we're about, taking all this data and turning it into knowledge that can be applied and insights. This is a game-changing point in the industry.
But the key thing here that's driving all of this is the dramatic drop in the cost of storage. My $300 iPhone, there's 32 gigabytes of storage on this. If I'd had that in 1990, the storage alone would have been worth nearly $300,000.
What is analytics? Today, currently, 95% of our analytics are descriptive analytics. You would know that as simply reporting or business intelligence. It answers the question, what happened in the past? The big deal, the big buzz today is predictive analytics. That's 2 or 3% of what goes on in the world. That answers the question, what is likely to happen in the future?
I don't even like the word big data. I love the word infrastress that I heard earlier, because that's really what it is. To me, my definition of big data is any data of type, structure, sheer volume that your current technology, infrastructure, capabilities, and process can't deal with it. That you're now having to take a step back and say, I've got these new things I need to do. I have these new things I can work with. How do I do it?
At Hortonworks, we're really focused on enterprise Hadoop, and I'll cover a bit of the stack. I moved a few months ago to MongoDB. Technically, some parallels with MarkLogic, completely different business model in that we are open source.
And we'll do some demonstrations of Accumulo and Squirrel on top of Accumulo.
Aster was acquired by Teradata as a startup in 2011. It's been a very synergistic relationship, very complementary.
They come and just talk to you about search and some of the things we're doing at Lucidworks, and hopefully show you some tricks that you haven't seen before.
And here we are back today, and now running a linear regression, if you want to do it on all your data, you need a data scientist or you need a data science team. And that's mostly because the tools aren't really mature enough to allow someone who doesn't have very deep understanding to do that. Hence, the data scientist.
You have a lot of, in one case we have a client that's got 20 PhDs. They came to us and said, look, we don't want a tool review, we just socked $6 million into vendor X, Y, and Z. We've been using SaaS for 15 years. We like the promise of big data. We like the promise of open source. We have no one who's really worked with it, but we're starting to bring in people who know R and some of the open source tool sets. And we want to expand our group of 20 PhDs to say 40. So what does that runway look like? How do I manage those teams?
So Lou, thanks for coming to the workshop. You just spent a couple of days going through the training. What's your thoughts so far? How are you enjoying it up to this point?
Bob, honestly, it was an eye-opener for me. This is an amazing workshop. This is kind of my first exposure to big data at this level, and it's a wealth of information that I'm going to take back to the organization.
I think I'm in the right place at the right time. This has been a very valuable use of my time. I've been learning a tremendous amount about the terminology, and through this I think I'm going to be able to interact with my R&D colleagues in a more effective way.